Are you listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any other platform where you can leave a rate or review? Do you like what we're doing? If the answer to all of that is yes, please consider quickly giving us a 5-star rate. And if you wouldn't mind leaving us a nice review, we greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, welcome to the Ghosts of Harrenhal. My name is Simon.
And I'm Mackelly.
Thank you for joining us for episode 330 of our chapter-by-chapter book review of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Today we'll be discussing chapter 58 of A Dance with Dragons, which is Jon 12.
And as always, we're going to chat about the chapter and try not to spoil any future plot points for you, unless, of course, you have a Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer tier that includes spoilers. Well, then, if you listen to that spoiler episode, we are going to spoil things for you. But regardless, hopefully we'll provide you some entertainment along the way. And speaking of Buy Me a Coffee, we'd like to dedicate this episode to Kevin of our small council, and you'll find out in news and notes why we're bestowing this honor upon him.
We'll summarise what happened, discuss our thoughts on it, provide some useful background, compare it to the television show, indulge in a little pedantry, and cover some relevant news and listener correspondence. Be sure to check out the show notes. They'll provide some additional information about the characters and geography of this chapter. How are you, Mackelly?
I am doing all right. I'm doing better now. Molly, my sweet princess, she's on spring break, and she was in Los Angeles until about 3 hours ago. She touched down back here on the East Coast. So that's by far the farthest she's been away from home. But she had a great time. She was out visiting my sister, who happens to share her same name, and her namesake. And like I mentioned an episode or two ago, that my nephew is on a tour. So daughter Molly stayed in my nephew's apartment with a friend of hers that traveled with her. And,
sweet.
Yeah, and sister Molly took her all around. They did a bunch of really fun things. Now daughter Molly is saying she wants to move out to LA. So, successful trip. Very successful trip.
Perhaps too successful.
Yeah, I know. It's quite a bit of ways from where we live here on the East Coast.
But it's always nice to have some anchor point in California that you can go visit.
True. Yes.
It's a nice place.
So I'm doing well now.
I'd highly recommend San Diego over Los Angeles. Just biased, but
All right. But how about you? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I was trying to think if anything amusing has happened, but it doesn't feel like it has. No great medical mishaps, no teeth problems. It's been an unusually quiet week.
Well, that's good too.
Yeah, we can take that. Been a few rotten ones recently. So, I do have an update on last week's Lost Shorts story. If you remember, I had winterized my wardrobe and could no longer find shorts, and it's gotten very hot all of a sudden here, so I desperately needed these shorts.
It was almost 90 today.
Yeah, you called it, actually. You said it. You said, are they in the room where you are? Which I record from the spare room, and there is a closet in here. And sure enough, that is where they were. But here's the interesting thing. Before I actually looked in the closet, I said to Carson, hey, do you know where my shorts are? Because they're not in the cupboard where they normally live, and I think I must have winterized it. And she said without a beat, she said, they're in the spare room closet. You told me to remember that because you knew that you wouldn't.
You know yourself well. You remember yourself well enough to know you're not going to remember where you put it.
She remembered that. Who would remember that? I've noticed. I don't remember doing it, and I certainly don't remember telling her to remember it. And there you go.
Yeah, that's why there's two of you.
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts. I'm all comfortable and happy. So that worked out.
All right, good to see you're back in action when it comes to the summarizing of your wardrobe. Now, of course, are you going to put your long pants in that same location?
It actually has happened. Yes, I have summarized my wardrobe, but we're going to be back below freezing again the next few days. After being up above 31 Celsius today, we're going to be back below freezing in the next few days. So.
Really? Yeah, I had not looked.
Yeah. We've got some. Which I really look forward to when we can't have any more freezing temperatures, because Carson has a bunch of plants and she brings them indoors for the winter, and our house is inundated with plants. You can't walk through the house without knocking a plant over.
Like in the jungle.
It is. It's. I mean, I like the plants. You know, I wish them well, but they clutter up every surface. So,
You're like Jack Hanna.
yeah, I'd be glad to see the back of them.
Yeah. Jack Hanna, did that register? Do you know who Jack Hanna is?
I have no idea who Jack Hanna is. Nothing registers with me.
He's a TV show personality that is like a nature guy. He usually with animals, but you know.
So I do have a story for you. It's pretty revolting, so I'm not sure if it'll make the cut.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Mackelly is thrilled by the prospect of a revolting story. So, you know my dog count is up to 3, right?
I do. Yes, yes.
So the other night, just sort of like as we're thinking about sort of like winding down to bed kind of thing, Winter, the new dog, throws up in the bedroom on the carpet.
Of course, yes.
And
where else?
Now, I'm the man of the house, and I like to take care of the nasty jobs, but I'm not very good at certain nasty jobs. And Carson took care of this one without me seeing it. And I'm very grateful to her for doing it, because she said, I do not know what that dog ate, but it was really bad what came out of that dog. And I saw the carpet is blue, but this patch was kind of purple in color afterwards. So I was like, oh my God.
What was that?
Yeah, no idea. So anyway, we go to bed, we go to sleep. And I know which night this was. It was Saturday night, because our clocks moved. Saturday night. Because I happened to get up in the middle of the night, and I noticed that some of my clocks were saying it was 3:17, and some of my clocks were saying it was 2:17, depending on whether they were connected to the world. So it was 3:17. Winter threw up again in the bedroom, also on the carpet.
Oh.
And this time I'm not waking Carson up. I'm going to deal with this myself. So first things first, I get the dogs out of there, because I don't want them like rolling in it or something.
Yeah.
So I go to the back door and throw the dogs out. And because I know that the dog has eaten something out in the backyard, I actually flick the lights on and off a couple of times to give the wildlife a warning that the dogs are coming. Because I don't want a repetition of this.
Run away!
Yeah. But in turning the light on, I see right on the doorstep the problem. There is 3/4 of a quite large rabbit.
Oh. Oh. That is gross.
So I'm just wearing boxer briefs, and so I put my sneakers on, and I grab a shovel, and I shovel under this rabbit, and then I walk around the outside of the house with the rabbit and to the trash can, and I open the trash can, throw the rabbit in, walk back, and then I realize that the bird camera is filming me walking around at 3 a.m. in a pair of sneakers and a pair of underwear with a rabbit and a shovel.
That would be one of those great out of context situations.
So that was
Caption
great.
This picture.
Yeah. So I got back into the house, and then I went to clean up the mess, and she'd obviously eaten the gizzards out of a rabbit. I mean, it was absolutely appalling.
Yeah.
When I finally got back to bed, I was like, well, it's been a terrible night, but it at least will be a short one, because we lose an hour of sleep.
Right. Just adding insult to injury here.
Yeah.
Now I'll also lose an hour of sleep. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is dog ownership right there.
Yeah. And the thing is, Winter couldn't catch a rabbit to save her life. So I'm sure that this is a double act. I'm sure Penny did the murder.
Oh,
and then Penny loses it. Once it stops squeaking, Penny loses interest. You know, it's what she does with squeak toys. She baits them until they stop squeaking, and then she loses interest.
She's like,
and then Winter was like, well, I'm still hungry.
Oh, gross. Poor little thing.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
I was talking about you, of course. Yes.
All right, well, let's get down to business. How did we leave Jon Snow? Last time we saw Jon, he was negotiating terms with Tormund Giantsbane for the free folk to pass through the wall. The eventual deal pleased no one, so it was probably about right. Chief amongst those not pleased were Bowen Marsh, Othel Yarwick, Septon Celador, and Queen Selyse. Somehow, fealty to Stannis and R'hllor had been forgotten in Jon's negotiations. Jon reminds his lieutenants, that their vows won't distinguish between free folk and other men. They're not happy. Jon remembers Melisandre's warning of ice and daggers in the dark, blood frozen red hard, and naked steel. Gulp. Mackelly, why don't we give the summary of this one?
Okay. Well, Jon sees a wildling host advancing on the wall, and he calls out to his Night's Watch brothers to throw them back. However, he realizes he's alone. His brothers have abandoned him. Jon wears armor of black ice with a blade of red flame ready for the foe. The wildlings scurry up the wall and Jon throws them back. Old men, young boys, a giant, a girl with red hair that Jon realizes too late was Ygritte. He dispatches them all. Donald Noy, Deftic Follard, Corn Halfhand. Jon kills them as well. I am the Lord of Winterfell, Jon screams before taking Robb's head off with Longclaw. A gnarled hand grabs Jon and he wakes.
Oh, it was a dream. God, that was pretty vivid what you were painting there. Mormont's raven pecks at his chest. This feels more grounded in reality now. Yeah. His first thoughts are of self-doubt. Once he opens the gate for these wildlings, there is no going back. It should be Mormont, or Corin Halfhand, or Riker, or his uncle Benjen making this decision. Despite his misgivings, he will not change course. The raven is hopping around Jon's chamber, muttering to itself. Jon catches King Snow, Jon Snow, Jon Snow, which Jon finds odd. The raven has never said his full name before.
Jon breaks his fast with his officers going over the plans for the day. Jon reminds them that many of the wildlings hate the Night's Watch as much as the brothers hate them. This won't be easy, and things could go very wrong. If Jon learns that a Night's Watch brother is the first to draw blood, Jon will have that man's head. After Jon dismisses them, Ed is the last to remain. He reports that progress is slow at Long Barrow, and nobody listens to him but the mules, which is he said a lot of other Dollar's Ed things. I just summarized it to that.
Yeah. the mules do have big ears. That's possibly why they're good listeners, you know. Jon mounts up and calls for the gate to be opened. He chose his most impressive horse and the most impressive men for his honour guard, including Leathers. He wants to show that even free folk can rise to honour in the Night's Watch. As the horn blows, Jon considers how one blast had always signalled rangers returning, but today it calls the free folk to their new home. Jon finds Tormund waiting, surrounded by 60 men. Tormund wants his people to see that Jon is a normal man and the Night's Watch are not to be feared. Jon has other ideas. He whistles for Ghost. The huge direwolf has indeed the intended effect on the free folk.
The first group to come forth and pass through the gate are the 100 hostage boys, ranging from age 8 to 16. 2 girls are stopped while trying to sneak through. Jon wants them replaced by boys. Tormund thinks that Jon wants more valuable hostages, but Jon tells of brave Dany Flint, a girl who joined the Night's Watch dressed as a boy, and the awful fate that befell her. Tormund agrees to the swap. The final hostage is Tormund's son Dryn. Jon makes Dryn Jon's own page.
Next come the warriors, possibly as many as 1,000, men and women alike. Many look at Jon with cold eyes as they pass. However, plenty pledge their blades to Jon or thank him. Gerrick Kingsblood introduces his 3 daughters, all touched by fire. Jon knows blood means little north of the Wall, but thinks Queen Selyse will like these wildling princesses more than she does Val. Tormund explains that Garrick is actually descendant of Raymond Redbeard's younger brother, but the man often omits that detail.
Before each wildling can pass beneath the gate, he or she must deposit their valuables in a cart. The items range from a shirt of silver scales to a toy mammoth, all to be sold to buy food from the free cities. Wildlings continue to pass by Jon in a constant stream, but Tormund says it's taking too long. They need a bigger gate. If only he had the Horn of Joramun. Jon informs Tormund that Melisandre burned the horn.
Tormund gets a kick out of that. He tells Jon that the horn was just a huge fancy horn they found in a giant's tomb. They never found the true Horn of Joramun. Mance just wanted the Night's Watch to think he had that power, but Tormund says that if they had have had it, they would have used it. Jon cannot decide if Mance was lying or if Tormund is now, and he ponders where the true horn might be.
Jon asks Tormund about the others, but Tormund doesn't want to talk about them north of the Wall. He does tell of their time since the battle, however. The others never came in force, but they could feel them lurking outside their camps. Stragglers rarely survived, and often men and women would be found dead in their tents, or they'd come find you. The others never came out in the daylight, but that doesn't mean they've gone away.
For someone who didn't want to talk about them, he did talk about them quite a bit. Yeah.
I thought that same thing. He went on for quite a while.
All right, let's wait till we get back.
You said so.
When Jon commiserates, Tormund says, "No, Jon cannot understand. You can kill a white, sure, but how do you kill their masters, the white mists? How do you fight, mist?" Jon remembers Sam telling him that Valyrian steel and dragonglass are thought to be effective against others. Tormund tells his oldest son Toreg to round up those left in camp. The sun will be setting soon. They need more urgency.
Jon realizes that the remaining free folk are scared of what lurks in the woods. The last group of free folk to pass by is Tormund's rear guard, a dozen dangerous-looking wildlings mounted and well-armed. Only one is afoot, and he has the largest boar Jon has ever seen by his side. Jon knows him as a skin changer without being told. Ghost bares his teeth at the boar, and Tormund suggests that Jon keep Ghost locked up while Barak and his boar are in the castle.
When the procession is finally finished, Borin Marsh tells him that 3,119 wildlings passed under the wall. The hostages were split between Eastwatch, the Shadow Tower, and Castle Black. Tollard took 6 wagons of women to Longbarrow. The rest are in Castle Black. Jon says that Tormund plans to take his men to Oakenshield in the next day or so, and adds that the rest will be assigned to their castles before long.
Jon enters a very different castle than the one he left this morning. Rather than a couple hundred Black Brothers shuffling around a castle meant to hold many more, the place is bustling with life and activity. Jon retires to his chambers before the welcome feast. He's only just sat down when Clydas arrives with a letter.
It's from Cotter Pyke at Hardhome. Things are very bad. The Blackbird has been lost, along with all her men. Other ships have been driven aground or are taking on water. Wildlings are eating their own dead. There are dead things in the water and the woods. A wildling woods witch is calling them slavers. Some wildlings tried to storm the Stormcrow, one of the ships, but were thrown back. The waters are storm-ravaged. The letter requests Jon send help via land. Jon considers the dead things in the water and the woods. His war has finally begun.
Yeah, that's a mess.
Yeah, dark winds, dark words, they're not wrong.
Yeah, that's right. It's really true there.
So Jon's dream is an interesting amalgam of his situation, because the free folk are coming through the wall, not over the wall as they were trying to do in the dream. And Jon is very much isolated, but he's not the one trying to stop the free folk. He's the one, if his dream was true to reality, he would be throwing ropes down to help them up,
Yes, and Bowen Marsh would be running around cutting the ropes.
That's very true, absolutely, yeah. And his killing his loved ones at the end would definitely be the sort of thing his therapist would really dig into for quite a long time.
That's right. A lot of sessions dedicated to that.
So you killed a great before you realised it was a great, and then you killed your brother whilst announcing that you were the king and not him. Good.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clearly he's worrying about his decision to let what turned out to be 3,000 wildlings pass the wall, and he's worrying about his brothers abandoning him over that decision.
If I could jump to his defense, if he wasn't surrounded by idiots, everybody would be telling him, if you and I were Jon's lieutenants, we'd be telling him, you were making the right decision here.
Yeah.
Things are going to be tense.
Hard.
There's probably going to be some murders. There's probably going to be some privation as they eat our stores, but there's no alternative to this. We've got to do it.
Right.
Let's make the best of it. So I get it. Without any positive reinforcement from anyone, Jon is second guessing his decisions, but it's completely the right decision. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, I think it's a fact, we've discussed it before, that so few people survive, so few of the Black Brothers survived the Fist of the First Men to see what they're truly up against. But he's wearing black ice armor and wielding a red burning sword, which gave a little bit of Azor Ahai vibes there.
Yes, it did.
And he kills the wildlings, and he recognizes some of the wildlings, but specifically Ygritte. And him killing Ygritte gave a little bit of Nisa Nisa vibes, I felt like.
Oh, very true. I hadn't thought of that, but you're absolutely right. Yes.
And then I started thinking, like, how could Ygritte be Jon's Nisa Nisa? And maybe if Ygritte hadn't died, Jon very possibly wasn't going to have kept his vows. And her dying allowed him to become Lord Commander, which ultimately led the Night's Watch to save the wildlings in preparation to fight the others.
Yep, all true. Yeah.
Maybe if you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, but it is an interesting thought, because we've said before that Jon is a decent candidate for Azor Ahai. And if he's now dreaming of himself in something like that, I mean, and he hasn't thought this, I don't think. I don't think anyone's planted the idea in his head that he might be Azor Ahai. So this part of this dream, the part of this dream that makes us think of it, is come spontaneously to Jon. It's not been implanted by Melisandre going, you know what you'd look really good in a dream is a burning sword,
Right.
And then put it in the heart of your loved ones. That would be ideal.
We'll be right back.
Hello, friends. Are you ready to make some unforgettable memories? Well, if so, consider the Marriott Bonvoy program. Discover the perfect destination for your summer getaway and unlock exclusive deals on luxurious accommodations. With our affiliate partnership, you'll enjoy unbeatable savings and a seamless booking experience. Don't let summer slip away. Visit Marriott Bonvoy today and make this vacation season one for the books. Use our Ghosts of Harrenhal affiliate page to check it all out and buy Bonvoy points or give some as a gift. The link to our page is in the show notes. Yeah, she's fully in on the idea that Stannis is Azor Ahai.
The last thing she would want is for this to cloud this situation. But she'd also be very interested to hear about his dreams, I feel.
True, yeah. And she said in her thoughts in the one Melisandre chapter we had, every time I ask to see Azor Ahai, all I see is snow. So, there's that as well.
Did she say that to Jon?
No, I think she just thought it to herself.
To herself, right? Yeah. She needs to be careful because this is the quintessential Macbeth plotline. I always talk about this. The Macbeth plotline is that the prophecy creates the reality.
Yes.
Once the person knows that they've been prophesied to do this, they then do it. They would never have done it without the prophecy's existence. So if she says to him, you know what? Every time I ask about Azor Ahai, I hear snow, and now I've realized there's a capital S.
It's a capital S in that snow. But if we play the psychiatrist here for a second and consider the killing of his brothers,
I'm afraid we're going to need another session.
Both Donald Noy, Corn Halfhand, and his half-birth brother Robb.
Yeah.
And then Jon claims he is Lord of Winterfell, and then a gnarled hand grabs Jon and he wakes. So if we take the Black brothers, Donald Noy, Deftic Follard, they were both killed in the battle for Castle Black. And maybe Jon, his subconsciousness is feeling responsible for that because of his role in the wildlings climbing the wall.
Yeah.
And, maybe Jon could have left them sooner and given the Night's Watch at Castle Black more time to be prepared.
Yeah, interesting. I hadn't thought about it in those terms.
He physically did kill Corn Halfhand, even if it was at Corrin's command.
That's true.
And then with Robb, he didn't ride to Robb's side. He started to, and then he came back when his friends talked him out of it. So maybe he's feeling guilt over Robb's death, like I let Robb die because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
To protect him and defend him.
But at that time, he didn't have any ambition to Winterfell, right?
No, he just wanted to help his brother.
Yeah, but I mean, he's now blaming himself for letting Robb die because of his ambition to get Winterfell. But that ambition to get Winterfell was created by Stannis. It didn't exist before Stannis suggested it. So he's backtracking guilt onto things that he shouldn't have no guilt about. Really, he's being very unfair on himself.
That's true. I do recall that possibly when he and Robb would play fight, that they would announce that they're the Lord of Winterfell. Maybe he's thinking of him saying that to Robb.
Right.
But then if we get to the gnarled hand, most in the fandom believe that the hand belongs to Bloodraven, trying to show Jon something, which I've got a segment in spoilers that has to do with that.
I'm excited for it.
Some believe that it could be Bran in the form of a weirwood trying to communicate to Jon, maybe about this Azor Ahai that he's dreaming. And some believe that it's the old ranger Dywyn, because he is described as having gnarled hands. That's taking the dream, with everything else being so
right. Yes.
It's a very literal interpretation here. The gnarled hand has to be the guy with the gnarled hands. He is missing beyond the wall. He was one of that last group of rangers that Jon sent out.
Yeah.
So maybe he's feeling guilt about that. But
by the way, something I should have mentioned while we were chit-chatting earlier, Carson and I have been watching a show called How to Get to Heaven from Belfast.
Oh.
On Netflix, it is in the States.
Okay. Cool name.
Very entertaining. We're enjoying it. It has Michelle Fairley in it, who's played Catelyn Stark.
Oh,
and
okay.
One of the threads, this is a minor spoiler, but you could still enjoy it, is that she really does a number on the brain of her adopted child. And I was like,
oh,
you've got history, lady. Not your first time.
Very much like the actor that plays Euron Greyjoy.
Exactly, yeah.
Having the same kind of role in that other show, whatever it is now.
Foundation, that one, yeah.
Ah, yes, that's right.
So the Raven starts calling him Jon Snow. How fascinating. And King Snow, which is interesting. Both parts of that are interesting.
Yeah, and so he has never said Jon before. Sam taught him to say Snow, but the Crow has never said. Actually, I think Sam taught all the Ravens to say Snow. That's why I think they say it when he is near. But he's never said Jon Snow before, but he has said the word King before, at least once in our hearing, and that was early in a Clash of Kings chapter.
He was reading the
book. Jon was in Mormont's chambers, and the Raven said King 3 times, and Jon said to Mormont, I think he means for you to have a crown. And Mormont was stroking the Raven's little beak, but the Raven's eyes never left Jon, and Jon found it disconcerting.
To be fair, the eyes point in different directions on
right. Birds. Was he twisting his head back and forth? Each eye one at a time.
But now, you know what is a little bit strange? Nobody calls Jon Jon. We call Jon Jon, but nobody at the wall would call Jon Jon.
Except for Sam, I think.
Sam,
is the only one.
But Sam's been gone for a while. So the Raven hasn't heard Jon for a long, long time. He hasn't picked that up recently.
That is true. I had not thought of that. Yeah. It's been, it's Lord Snow.
Yeah. Lord Snow, you can imagine him
Lord
saying.
Commander.
Lord Commander, yeah. Snow, just by itself. I mean, that he hadn't already learned the word snow before Jon came along seems a bit strange given where they live, you know.
Right. What do they call the white stuff falling from the sky then?
Does nobody ever talk about the snow around here? I mean, is it just so ubiquitous they don't even talk about it?
It's like talking about air. But I will add that when the Raven said it King 3 times, Mormont had just told Jon about Maester Aemon passing on the opportunity to become king. So he did hear king right before he started. He didn't randomly just say king. Mm-hmm. But do we think it means anything that he is saying? George Martin rarely adds a detail that doesn't have a point or a payoff at some point.
I think generally birds that can talk are just parroting. I mean, that's where the word comes from, you know.
Right.
I had an uncle and aunt-in-law who have they've changed what they do, but they used to have a photocopy business called Copierworks, and they had a bird living in their house, and that bird could perfectly emulate their phone ringing, and then the message starting up saying, "You've reached Copier Works, leave a message."
No way.
It was astonishing. I mean, like, I would jump up to answer the phone every time, and they were just like, "It's the bird. It's the bird."
That's fantastic.
It was incredible. And even like the gap, because it would ring twice, and then there'd be just a little gap, and then it would kick in with the message. It had it. It couldn't have been more perfect.
That is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been around a talking bird like that before.
I don't think that bird knew what it was talking about. Like, if someone had left the message, I don't think the bird could have passed it on. Well, actually, that's not true. The one thing the bird could have done is pass on the message verbatim.
Well, isn't that what the Children of the Forest told Bran? Is that, or maybe it was Bloodraven, that the ravens used to deliver messages through true speech, and that it could be conveyed and still until humans stopped knowing the true speech and had to start writing little notes to each other.
So, but it depends whether this raven is just a parrot or, in fact, it has got a bit of true speech to it. Perhaps that's what it's trying to do, trying to get a message to Jon.
We'll be right back.
This episode is sponsored by Audible. To get a free audiobook, or 2 if you're an Amazon Prime member, go to our exclusive URL, audibletrial.com/ghostsharrenhal. You can find the link in our show notes. Maybe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Could Bran or Bloodraven be warging the raven? We heard the weirwood call Theon's name in Winterfell.
Yeah, here's my thing, though. This raven is a talking bird. It can speak human language. If you can walk into it, you can say, "Hey, Jon, this is Bran."
Right. You don't
have to do cryptic. You don't have to come over all Jon Arryn.
Yeah, the seed is strong, Jon. The seed is strong. What are you talking about?
Do you want me to crush it up for you, Mr. Raven?
Corn? Are you talking about corn? I hope our longtime friend of the show and sustainer Grace, who is whatever person that works with birds, she's told us before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I hope she enjoyed this segment of this episode.
Bird segment. Yeah. Moving on to honor guards and former members of the Free Folk. So Leathers is included, and I think that's a good idea because Jon's going north of the wall. Every one of these Free Folk is going to pass by him and see him. He wants an honor guard which looks more impressive. Normally, he doesn't care about pomp and ceremony at all, but this time he rode the biggest stallion, took the least crippled and pathetic members of the Night's Watch, and one of them is Leathers, and Leathers, of course, was a wildling before he became what is he now? He's now Master of Arms.
Yes, he is
at Castle Black. So.
Yeah, and I have a thought on that.
Go on.
So Jon picked him as Master at Arms, much to the chagrin of who I'm sure you could guess, Bo and March.
Everyone who isn't Jon.
Yes, and certainly Leathers is a good fighter. I don't doubt that, but he is a wildling, and he's never been trained by a previous castle's Master at Arms. And he's not been influenced by tourney melees or any kind of fighting demonstrations. So surely he's going to introduce a different style of fighting to these new recruits. And I think it will be interesting to see how this affects future brothers.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. I always think that cross-pollination of those kinds of things is ultimately for the good. Short term, there might be some confusion. You might have certain members who are very much doing what would have been taught in any castle in Westeros. Yeah. And then these newer recruits will have a sort of more mixed message kind of thing. But generally speaking, more techniques being thrown into the general training soup is better.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I do think as new recruits come in, especially if they aren't highborn and they haven't had any previous training, if the Night's Watch, if Leathers is in this role for a long enough time, if they will take on a more distinctive style of fighting than your average Westerosi south of the Wall.
Yeah. The one thing is, neither of them are ideally placed to teach. So bring some castellan from big castle in Westeros to teach, and he'll teach you how to fight in a besieged castle or how to besiege a castle. It's not particularly useful for what they're planning to do. Actually, it's closer to what the Night's Watch have to do, because the Night's Watch have to defend the wall, and that's really what defending a castle is all about. What Leathers would teach is more about sort of guerrilla fighting out in the wild.
Right.
And I hope that's not how we're planning to fight the others, because
right. That's a bad strategy.
Right. That feels a bit like Mormont's ranging right there. And let's leave the gate open. Some grappling hooks lying around. So 100 hostages seems a bit excessive to me. Out of 3,119 people who came through the wall, 100 hostages. It's just an awfully large number.
Yeah.
Do you believe Jon would execute any of them? I don't.
I don't either. Yeah. I think he often points to Jaina Slint as "look what I did."
Yes.
But I think that's very different than executing a boy.
He might execute any one of them for the kinds of crimes that Jaina Slint was capable of.
Right.
But for crimes committed by other free folk, he's not going to kill any of these. And I think Tormund knows that too. You and I know it, and I think Tormund knows it as well. Yes,
it's very similar to Dany in Ser Barristan with her hostage nobles in Meereen. I think the last Barristan chapter, he talked about how fond he is of those kids.
Yeah, but the thing is, of course, is that it still works because you don't know. If you give your child up as a hostage and you don't see the interaction, you don't know. Maybe they are capable of this, The fact that they form a nice relationship is all to the good, really. But it's an empty promise. But the thing is, it should work anyway, because the free folk shouldn't up and revolt here, because Jon is doing them a favor, and the deal that's been struck is right for everybody. You're being brought to safety. In return, you're going to help us defend the wall. Yeah.
Yep. When those warriors come by, and a lot of them pledge their sword to Jon or axe or whatever weapon they're wielding, I think possibly, like you said, they realize they're not getting through that wall without Jon's consent. It is only because Jon is willing to turn left when every other Lord Commander probably was going to turn right, and let these wildlings in mass come through.
Yeah,
that they're being saved, and they know what we hear from Tormund, what their experience has been like since the battle. It sounds brutal and horrifying with the others in the whites. So it would make sense that they would be willing to put the history between the two sides in the past as well. Yeah.
And of course, the one thing is, of course, we sort of see Tormund as I like it when I say a synecdoche of the whole free folk. But he knows Jon, and 95% of these 3,119 don't know Jon at all.
Right.
And so he to them is just a faceless black brother, all of whom they hate and fear and despise and believe are ruthless murderers. So they have, even though if they knew Jon, they would doubt his promise to kill the hostages if there was any uprising, they would believe it because they just assume that's what all Night's Watch Lord Commanders
That is true. Yeah, that's a good point.
One of the people who comes through, one of the hostages, is a runty rat-faced kid. It turns out he's the son of Varamir's Sixskins.
Yes, remember he rushed from 3 to 5. I was thinking that all the time and make myself laugh when you said that.
don't remember.
He rushed past 4. He said there was an urgency to get past 4. That probably makes me laugh. once a month at least, since you said
It
it.
sounds funny, but I don't even remember it. What did I say? Because
Yes, he went from 3 skids. He said it was going to be an urgency. He wanted to get to 5 real fast.
That is good. Well done. Well done.
Hey, well done, indeed.
So Tormund thinks Varamir is dead, but we know differently, do we? Oh, that's right.
yeah.
I do know where he is. He's in the possessed head of some lady.
He was for a bit there, but so
Something's happened after that?
In the prologue, he was the POV in the prologue of this book. And when his body was dying, he did go into, was her name Thistle or something like that?
Thistle, that's what I'm thinking. Yes, Thistle.
Yeah, and went into her body for a short bit, but then I think she dragged him out, and he ended up his consciousness lives in One Eye, the wolf,
yes.
who is now part of Summer's pack.
Right.
And this here, this boy is a son of his. And we did hear, because we were in his head in the prologue, a little bit about how he ended up getting women. I'm not even sure how to word it, because when he wanted a woman, he would send his shadow cat to stalk the woman until she came to him, willingly or not. And he did, in that chapter, in the prologue, think to himself that he does have many sons, but they're all weak and small, and none of them are skin changers.
Oh, okay.
So he was disappointed in all his children.
Right. So on the subject of famous people's sons, Tormund's own son, Dryn, or Dryn, or something like that, is going to be Jon's page. So if you remember that Jon was the last Lord Commander's page for a short time, so perhaps Dryn will be the next Lord Commander. Almost the 1000th, right?
I think Jon was Mormont's squire.
Page.
Steward. Sorry, steward.
Steward, yes.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for, steward.
Right, he would have to become a Black Brother first, but I mean, being at the right hand of power is, as Sam pointed out when Jon was given that job, you're being groomed for leadership.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, that could very well be. Yeah.
But it's a nice bonding point for Jon and Tormund that his son is there, and Jon will keep an eye out for him. And like we said, Tormund of everybody knows that Jon's not really going to follow through on his threats. So
yes. I would imagine if anybody in that group knows, it would be Tormund.
Yeah. Now, when the warriors go past, I kind of expected all the warriors to be a little bit sour-faced towards Jon, and that certainly is what some of them are. But quite a few of them pledged their swords to Jon and, sort of metaphorically high-five him on the way through. And it seemed a little bit surprising, other than, again, one more time, the logic of the whole situation. But do you think they were being real? Or do you think there's a bit of...
Like I was saying a little bit ago, I think they were the ones who pledged their sword and smiled at him and thanked him are the ones that realize what Jon is doing for them.
Right.
That they're not getting through that wall. If it wasn't for Jon, they would still be trying to fend off the others and the whites and slowly being eliminated. And
it's not like it's a vague sort of non-specific threat for them. It's happening every night. They're losing people every night to this, and
right,
in a terrifying way, because those people come back to fight you the next day.
Right. If you don't find them, they're going to find you, the ones that die in the night. But speaking of famous people's children, the red-bearded Garrick Kingsblood comes by, and he presents his 3 daughters to Jon, and he claims he's a descendant of Raymond Redbeard.
Hence the Kingsblood, right?
Yes. And Jon thinks that Selyse is going to take better to these 3 than she has to Val, primarily because the girls have been cowed, as Jon puts it.
Right.
And he thinks, I agree. I mean, Selyse couldn't react much worse than she did to Val.
I wasn't sure where you were going with why it would be better, but it couldn't be much worse. So that's the main reason.
Well, I think Val's spirit and her wild spirit is what bothers Selyse, and I think she will like the fact that these girls seem to be more cowed. But much like Stannis and the rest of the Southrons, she will overvalue the blood connection.
Yeah.
Possibly bumping Val from her lofty status as wildling princess, and she'll be moved to the ranks of commoners.
Honestly, these three have a much better... I mean, if you're planning to throw them on a pyre, these three are much more useful than Val. If you remember, Val was the sister of the lover of a guy who was a member of the Night's Watch who came across the wall and pretended to be the king. These are descendants of a king.
Well, according to Tormund, the descendants of the younger brother of a king.
Okay, all right. But still, there's royal blood there. There was no royal blood in Val whatsoever.
True. And Val specifically, definitely not.
Yeah.
Right, yes. Yeah.
So, again, we learn, I think we've learned this before, that this is the horn that was burned was not the Horn of Joramun. I think we'd learned this once before somewhere.
Either we discussed it in spoilers, or
possible.
That's very possible.
Yeah, that's possible.
We discussed it in spoilers.
Say, I knew. But Tormund is adamant it wasn't the horn. We know that they gathered in the Frostfangs to look for it. They dug up whatever they could. They found this horn. Why they thought this wasn't the Horn of Joramun, I'll never know. The thing was fantastic looking.
Right. Yeah. Maybe they tried it and nothing happened. They're like, oh, well, not the right one.
That's a terrible way to do things. But but does Tormund...
Does this grenade work? Let me pull the pin and see what happens.
Does Tormund really believe that Mance would have blown it? Again, the whole motivation for the free folk getting south of the wall was to put the wall between them and the others. So
it doesn't make sense.
Blowing the horn feels like it had to be the last resort. But then, I don't know why, given that this horn definitely could have passed for the Horn of Joramun and has for some time, why didn't Mance walk up to the wall going like, I'm gonna blow it?
Right.
I mean, you can call his bluff, but he may not want to do it in case he's accidentally not bluffing because he's not actually 100% sure that isn't the Horn of Joramun.
Maybe it depends on how hard you blow it. Maybe if you just blow it really soft, you can put a man-sized hole through the wall.
I was wondering the same thing. I was wondering the same thing. Like, do you have to give it to bring the whole thing down? Can you just do a little make a few bits crumble?
Yeah, maybe. So, but yeah, Jon, I agree with you entirely. It wouldn't make if he really did have the horn and Tormund thinks he would have used it, that just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Because what's the point? But
I don't understand why that wasn't the first part of their negotiation, was like, see what we've got, let's negotiate.
Right.
Yeah.
But Jon wonders who's lying. Was Mance lying or is Tormund lying now? And I don't see what benefit Tormund would have for lying now when it's already been burned and they're through the wall.
The only thing I could think of is Tormund just messing with Jon.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that you could think of. Like, to go, you burned that horn? That thing?
You dummy. Jon then wonders.
But other than that, other than like teasing Jon and being like, just one up on Jon, I agree. Tormund has nothing to gain by lying at this point. Mance had plenty to gain by lying. So it seems logical that Mance was the one that was lying, not Tormund.
I agree. So then Jon wonders, and I guess Jon does too, because he wonders where the true horn is. And the first thought is, it doesn't exist. It's just a thing of legend.
Right.
That's your first thought. But I think if it does exist, it is that broken horn that Ghost dug up on the Fist of the First Men with the dragon glass weapons cache that Jon found. And he gave the horn to Sam. And that thing survived the voyage to the Citadel. It was always described as an afterthought in the possessions. Like, he gathered this and that old broken horn. And like we were talking about just a little bit ago with George Martin when it came to the King Snow, Jon Snow. Why would it exist still if for no reason?
Right. Yeah, very, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You've said that before, and I've always been a little bit skeptical, but at the same time, you make very solid points. So
If the horn exists, it's got to be that horn, and maybe it's broken so as to prevent someone from blowing it.
Right. Whatever you do, don't patch that thing up. So
Yeah.
I also wonder if it could get used somewhere else to prove its efficaciousness, like for instance at Storm's End.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was also built by Bran the Builder, right? Storm's End, is that right?
Yes, and it has the wall has magical properties as well, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
As was Winterfell, built by Bran the Builder. So,
yeah, pretty much blow that anywhere, see what falls down. You know?
Right, I guess so.
So we said it before, the Free Folk are rightly scared of the White Walkers. They're being picked off. It does make me wonder about Tormund's negotiation, because, like, don't worry about the details of the negotiation. Just say, yes, we're coming.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
None of this 3 days hence. Now. Right now. Open the door.
Right,
Whatever you want,
3
Jon,
days.
just let us in.
Do you know how many we've lost in 3 days?
Yeah. If you wait 4 days, we'll probably be able to do it within a day because we won't have that many left at that point.
Right. It would take a lot less time to get through the gate at that point. Yeah, their experience, the one that Tormund describes, is very similar to the flight from the Fist, where what's left of the ranging made it to Craster's from the flood.
The only thing this had was a larger group to sort of like maybe keep the White Walkers at bay. Just the sort of like the sheer amount of people was possibly enough to deter them.
Yeah.
One would hope. I don't know.
But as far as Night's Watch brothers go, Night's Watchmen, as far as they watch at night too.
They do.
Sam and Gren, I think, are the only ones with experience with a true other that lived to tell the tale.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't think that many of these free folk are actually seeing these others. They're just seeing the effect of them. It's like the wind.
Yeah, and that fits with Tormund's description, calling them white mist, because that wasn't our experience in the Game of Thrones prologue with Sir Waymar or Sam's fight with the other. That they didn't seem very misty at that point. So
true.
Maybe I was thinking maybe they turn to mist when it's too warm or there's sunlight, because they only come when the sun's gone and it's cold.
So Jon recognizes that Borog is a warg. I do think that Jon and Borog should get together and do a scaled up version of Penny and Tyrion's Folly.
That would be fantastic. You got the pig and you got the dog.
Exactly. It's crunch and pretty, writ large.
Yes. And with they got to entertain all these people.
Exactly.
That would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder.
Well, I wonder if the jousting might break down as the two animals decide to tear each other apart.
Yeah, there could be a problem. Yeah, could Barak teach Jon about warging? Because Jon hasn't really been around any other skin changers. Like Varamir's Sixskins had Hagon to kind of teach him how to be a skin changer. But Jon seems completely uninterested in warging any other animals aside from Ghost. It's Bran that could use the mentor a lot more.
Right, indeed. But he may have... Bran may have mentors for that. That's the one thing.
Now, with Bloodraven, hopefully we'll be able to help him there. But speaking of that scene, Tormund tells Jon to keep Ghost locked up while Barak is at Castle Black, but Melisandre had told Jon multiple times, keep Ghost close because of the whole daggers in the dark prophecy. And Tormund doesn't know that, so he doesn't know what a dangerous proposition he is throwing out there.
Maybe Jon needs to go and see Melisandre and say, could that dagger have been a big tusk, like a boar's tusk?
Right. But so Jon comes back through the wall, and he walks into a castle that is completely different than the one he left that morning, where I think at this point they might be under 200
Right.
Black brothers are running around this castle that was originally meant to hold thousands.
Right. Yeah.
And now there are thousands in the castle.
He must look across it and think, well, this is it must have been like to be a Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, 500 years ago. This is what things were like. Noise and life and excitement. Not this many women, but
Right. Although they left.
That's
they were
right,
taken
they left. Yes,
to
so
Longbarrow by Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 3,119 wildlings minus the women, six carts or whatever of women went to Longbarrow. Some of the boys went to the East Watch, some went to the Shadow Tower, and some remained. So subtracting those, there's still
thousands
around.
Yeah.
And I just thought, Bowen Marsh, he might be a master complainer, but he is also a whiz at counting, because in the last Jon chapter, when they were atop the wall and Jon said, there they all are out there, 4,000 of them, Bowen Marsh looked at the cook fires and said, I'd say 3,000.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 119 off. Pretty close.
So the chapter ends with the letter from Eastwatch, which is very troubling, of course. So does Jon need to go to extricate them from this situation? That's the appeal from Cotter Pyke, but doesn't have to be Jon necessarily. Maybe some other plan might happen. And also, so part of the letter said that the free folk were sort of resisting the rescue by sea because they were claiming that these were slavers going to enslave them. We know from Arya that they might be onto something there.
Yeah. So it's unclear, and it's very confusing.
Yeah, Cotter Pyke needs to get his thoughts in order when he starts.
Right. What else does he have to deal with right now? It seems that Arya's Lyseni ships that she heard about, only one of them made it and had to stop in Bravos. The other kept going to Lys. You see, I can't even get Lys and Lys. I went to Lys this time because Lys, because they also only took women and children. But it seems like they arrived before Pyke's fleet did, because in this letter, Pyke mentions that the Bravasi ship will only take women and children, but they're not related to the ships that Arya heard about. Those Bravasi ships belong to Tycho Nestoris. But do you think perhaps slavers came in before and said, here, we're here to rescue you, and took those away, and now they're like, we're not getting any more ships, especially if you've got an Essosi accent. We're definitely not getting on that ship. Yes, I think the Lyseni ships wound up there. I think they, because of the storms, they wound up outside of Hardhome. They took on women and children, left, and now Cotter Pyke's fleet shows up. Now, how the witch women are calling them slavers, I don't know how they would know.
That's what I don't happen. Yeah, other than instinct somehow. Maybe it's like once they sailed away, they were like, they're heading to that continent that doesn't mind slavery, and they only took the women and children.
Curious.
Maybe we should have asked for more credentials before we set off on that. But yeah, I don't see how the news got back. So yeah,
it seems coincidental that we know that that many of them were sold into, or at least attempted to be sold into slavery.
Well, I hope Jon comes up with something, because I'm very worried about the whole situation at Hardhome.
Yeah. Now, the Blackbird is mentioned specifically as being lost with all hands, which is kind of a big deal because it's the largest ship in the Night's Watch fleet. It's the same ship that took Sam and company to Bravos. So that's been lost, according to Cotter Pyke. But to your first question about what's the plan going to be, as you said, the request from Cotter Pyke was a rescue by land because the seas are too rough. But I was thinking, they just got everyone south of the wall. Now they're going to turn around and send a rescue party back.
But there must be a way through the wall at Eastwatch, right? So you could march on the south side of the wall in the sunshine.
Yes.
and then cut through the wall there. So
I agree. Do you send Night's Watch brothers or do you send wildlings? Maybe this is the kind of task Jon had in mind for the wildlings.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. Maybe a mix of both. Chance for them to, wet their swords together.
Yeah. Could be a good bonding experience. Yeah. And he thinks the last line of the chapter is Jon thinks of the dead things in the woods and the water and thinks, my war has begun. And yeah, the battle between the living and the dead is playing out at Hardhome. Right. It seems.
Exactly. Yep.
And this is the reason why he sent Cotter Pyke to rescue the wildlings at Hardhome to prevent this large wildling group from becoming a white group.
All right, excellent. Time for some spoilers. Remember, the upper tiers of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer levels get you access to the spoilers. And you can try any of the Buy Me a Coffee Sustainer levels for free for a week. See if you like it. All right, good spoilers. Thank you, Mackelly. What about some background?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, Garrett Kingsblood claims he's of an ancestral line stemming from Raymond Redbeard. Tormund says, more like Raymond Redbeard's younger brother. So what's the story there? Well, so Raymond was a king beyond the wall who lived in the early part of the last century. And in 226 AC, he noticed the decline in the numbers and a lax in discipline in the Night's Watch, and Raymond led a large force of wildlings over the wall. Here comes in part of the numbers and lax situation, because they used ropes and ladders to make it easier to get many people to the southern side of the wall, and the Night's Watch failed to notice. So eventually Lord Willem Stark of Winterfell and the drunken giant Harmond Umber met Raymond's force along the shores of Long Lake. A bloody battle ensued. Lord Willem was killed in the fighting, but his younger brother Artus, the Implacable, by the way, continued the fight, ultimately slaying Raymond. Raymond's sons were also killed in the battle. However, Raymond's younger brother fled back north across the wall. He was henceforth nicknamed Red Raven because he had red hair and because the singer who told of his story needed something that rhymed with Craven.
Ouch!
I know.
Didn't need that.
I guess that's why Garrick glosses over the younger brother.
Right,
part.
Because that's his ancestor, in fact. Yes, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Compared with the television show, this whole thing got very muddled in the TV show. Tormund was captured when Stannis first arrived. He wasn't leading a roving band of free folk north of the wall. Rather, Jon and he went east to negotiate with the vestiges of Mance's army at Hardhome. Not to spoil something that might be coming, eventually the remainder of that force makes its way back to Castle Black and passes through the wall. Bowen Marsh's negativity around all this is given to Alliser Thorne, who was the thorn in Jon's side the whole time. Pedantry Corner, we glossed over it, but one of the 100 hostages was naked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but no. You can't be naked north of the wall for more than 2 minutes. There's just no way.
I thought the same thing.
That's
daft. I wondered, first of all, how in the world that could have even happened. And then I thought maybe it was some sign of protest.
Oh, yeah, like a prank.
He's protesting being a captive, so he's going to do it naked.
Yeah. One of the most northerly English soccer teams is Newcastle, and they always have shirtless fans, and it's always terribly cold. But every time. News and notes.
Well, as we alluded to at the beginning of the show, Kevin of our small council bestowed an amazing gift upon us. The generosity was above and beyond the call of duty, and that's, to put it mildly.
Yes, very much so, yeah. Kevin, thank you.
When I saw it, my reaction was the exact same reaction you had when I showed it to you. And so, yes, Kevin, thank you. Thank you doesn't cover it, but thank you so much. I mean, we greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do. It makes a huge difference. I mean, like it's changed our finances for the podcast for the year. Just that one gift, and it's made a real difference to us. And it's a boost to our morale. And to our ability to keep this thing going. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you all who donate, who contribute.
Absolutely.
All right, let's conclude this one. Jon is committed now. There is a huge number of free folk that just came through the wall. They bring many, many, many mouths to feed, Bowen Marsh would tell you. But they are a massive boost to the potential defense of the wall. I mean, this is...
Absolutely.
These are warriors. They will fight for that wall, and they will help keep the others at bay.
Yeah, it's a 6,000 warrior swap, because these 3,000 were going to end up as whites, and now they're on the southern side, theoretically going to defend the wall.
Yeah.
But they also, as we mentioned at the end of our discussion, it looks like they're going to breathe a lot of life, not into just Castle Black, but into the other castles that have had no life except for rats and spiders in centuries.
It would be kind of nice. I doubt we'll ever get to this point in the books, but it would be kind of nice to see what happens after all this is over. You know, will the free folk settle south of the wall and sort of like occupy these castles and become a sort of like a shadow Night's Watch? Not fully committed, but hey, if you'll stay in that castle and maintain it, and you can stay if you want, then perhaps we'd have a more diverse group along the wall.
True. Yeah. But it's going to take a lot of effort to get to that point. It's going to be a lot of hard times. And Jon and Tormund are going to have to maintain control over these groups and keep them in line. Are they going to be able to do that?
Yes. There's going to, like you said, there's going to be trouble. Jon's patience is going to be tested. Jon's advisors are going to tell him to follow through on his threat to the hostages, and Jon is going to not want to do that. It's all going to be a powder keg for a long time.
I agree, yeah. Hopefully, the gratitude that we saw from many of the warriors coming past Jon, and the fact that they have a common enemy, will keep the groups focused and working as one. True. Now, in the
fundamentally, that's why it's going to work. That is why it's going to work. You're absolutely right. Because they have this more important, more dangerous common enemy.
And the wildlings know what they're up against. The majority of the Night's Watch don't really understand.
Yeah.
And clearly, Jon's leadership doesn't get it, because they keep fighting him at every step.
And as you pointed out, we've got another warg in Castle Black, so there's a potential for Jon to learn some more things about his own abilities.
Yeah, he's not really open about it. Warging isn't really as accepted south of the wall as it is north of the wall.
Right.
Baroque calls him brother.
Right.
Because it's more open and accepted with the wildlings or free folk. The meeting of the animals was not a resounding success. Maybe they'll become more friendly over time as they get to know each other. Or Jon is going to ship Baroque and his boar out of Castle Black real quick.
That might be the right idea. So next week we have a chapter entitled "The Discarded Knight," and I'm curious. I believe I've read this chapter ahead and I've forgotten who it is. But when I put in suggestions here was Sir Jorah or Sir Barristan, both of whom could be considered discarded knights.
Jamie, I don't know that he's discarded. Well, he's disappeared, so maybe
we will find out. In the meantime, there's 3 ways that you could help us. You could leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. You could, like Kevin, buy us a cup of Arbor Gold or more. Become a sustainer also at buymeacoffee.com/ghostharrenhal. There is a tier to match your budget and your interest. The upper tiers get you the spoilers. And for a week, you can try any of the levels to see if you like them. Or you can make a donation directly to our cause at our website, ghostsofharrenhal.buzzsprout.com.
And if you're looking for more ways to interact with us, well, one thing you could do is you could send us a text. The link is at the top of every episode's show notes. Just please keep in mind we have no means of responding, but we do enjoy reading them. And if you're interested in keeping up on the latest Ghosts of Harrenhal news and developments, well, you can check us out on our social media. You can follow us on Twitter at Ghost Harrenhal. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, and YouTube.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.